Welcome back friends. So, we are in lecture number 15 and so far we have discussed stress strain analysis, plastic deformation, plastic instability, and then we moved on to mechanics of metal forming. Over here we discussed the uniform energy method, which is also the lower energy bound, and then we went on to upper energy bound, and I gave you just the introduction to upper bound analysis. Today we will continue our understanding of this upper bound analysis and enable you to be able to calculate the maximum or the upper bound of the forces or pressure required for such deformation. And like I said, there are some there is a methodology to this upper bound analysis. What is that methodology? An internal flow field is assumed. So, you assume that there is some internal flow field and it depends entirely up to you how you make that field, and as you will see when we progress through this lecture. Energy consumed in deformation field is calculated using properties of the material. For example, the shear strength of the material, you will be able to calculate the energy consumed and the rate of work. Rate of external work is also calculated based on the area at which this external force is applied. So, you see there are two components, one there is internal consumption or the internal energy consumption and the external energy consumption. So, you have these two components and you equate the two, and then you will be able to get a equation or a relation between the pressure or the force that has to be applied to do that kind of deformation. And this pressure or deformation, that whatever you calculate would be the upper bound, that is the maximum that you will need to do that kind of deformation. So, we will start with a simple example, and this example will also introduce you to the concept of hodographs. Like remember in the last lecture we said that you also need hodographs, which are nothing but velocity diagrams. So, this simple example will give you on an idea on how to generate these hodographs. So, let us look at this simple deformation where a metal is coming in like this and then it gets deformed like this. So, you see first thing that you notice is that here the metal is much thicker in region, here the metal is much thinner in region. So, if we say that this is velocity v1 and this is velocity v2, so which one should be higher? Obviously, velocity v2 should be higher. So, you know that v2 should be greater than v1. Now, there is over here we have defined through our construction or through our geometry a sharp region where this deformation is taking place. This is the plane along which deformation takes place or where the shearing, internal shearing is taking place. Now, to draw the hodograph, what we will do is we will assume a origin. So, with respect to that origin, how was the material initially moving? It was moving like this, v1, this is our velocity v1. Now, with respect, it is the same old material. Now, this material in the final step is moving at a velocity v2. Now, remember, since this has become thinner, the velocity v2 is higher and it has to be parallel to this, and also remember v1 is along this. So, it has to be parallel to this. So, we have the direction of v1, we have the direction of v2. Now, this is the initial velocity, this is the final velocity, and there is this change in this velocity is occurring along this line, and if you look at this, this will give you not only the magnitude also of the v2, but you will also get the magnitude of this particular velocity, which is called vs, which is where the shearing is taking place. So, you see we have defined as a sharp plane along which shearing is taking place. So, this is the shearing which is causing. So, let us say this material was moving here and suddenly when it crosses this line, it starts to move in this direction. So, this particular plane is giving it some additional velocity or it is changing the velocity. So, there must be a vectorial velocity that is getting added to this initial velocity and which is represented by this. Now what will be the orientation of this vector? This will be parallel to this line. So let us say this is O prime. So this velocity Vs is parallel to this plane O prime. So this is our V1, this is our V2 and this is Vs where the shearing is taking place. Now you see, just because we knew the orientation of V2, we knew the orientation of Vs, we are now in a position to calculate the magnitude of V2 and Vs as long as we know what is V1. So that is the advantage of a hodograph. So it is nothing very tricky or complicated, it is simple velocity diagrams. You have to look at the various components, how they are moving, and then you will be able to get not only the magnitude, but also the velocity of the flow field, internal flow field that you have assumed. Now here this particular internal field was assumed by us, that is where the deformation is taking place. We have not the other, what could have been other things possible over here? We could have assumed that this is a slow deformation taking place. We will not be able to draw that the hodograph for that for now, but for the time being I am just trying to give you an idea that there are other methods or other models that you could have constructed for this deformation. Here the model that we have taken is that the deformation is taking place sharply along this line. You will get to more complicated examples as we move on, but for now you should be able to appreciate the fact that this particular is also a model that has been generated by us. Remember, one of the one of the points or the first point of the methodology for upper bound analysis was that you assume a deformation field and you calculate the energy rate for that. So this is what we are doing, we are assuming the internal field of deformation or the internal field where collapse of the material is taking place, and this is usually denoted by star. So star denotes the internal shearing velocity. So we have using this hodograph, we are now in a position to get the magnitude of Vs star and as well as the magnitude of V2. Now let us say that this was a little bit different. So again there is no complication, just take our origin. So let us say I take the origin, this is my velocity V1 and then with respect to this origin there is this velocity V2, and again what we are assuming that this is the plane along which deformation or collapse of the material is taking place. Therefore, the third or the shearing deformation has to be, the vector for the shearing velocity has to be drawn parallel to this line. So again I will call it O prime. So I will draw it parallel, which is in this case is vertical, and so far I did not know the magnitude of V2, but now once these two vectors intersect, I know this is the magnitude for V2, I know this is the magnitude for Vs, which is again Vs star. So you see I have drawn two different cases and I have been able to draw the hodograph for both of them. So that is the way to go about drawing the hodograph, and like I said, Vs represents internal shearing and now it is represented by this star. Now let us take this forward. Now we have drawn the hodograph. How do we get to the calculating the pressure or the forces from this particular deformation model that we have constructed? So the first thing is we have to obtain a rate of external work. this rate is given by what? Usually the rate of external work is given by force into velocity. And what force and what velocity we are talking about? So, let us say when this is moving, you must have applied some pressure or force. So, this is the pressure or force we are applying, we are talking about, and let us look at in terms of pressure instead of force for the time being. So, this will become your P. So, let us say this is the P that you are applying, or to differentiate it, let us make it PE. So, let us assume that it is extrusion. So, this is PE, and when you are applying this pressure, the material is moving at a velocity V1. So, we know P, we know V1, and if we know the cross section width, which is A, and there will be another dimension L. We are assuming it is a plane strain condition. So, we will assume that this model or this geometry remains constant in the third dimension. So, in the third dimension, let us say there is some length L. So, now force will be what? PE into L times A, that is force, and this is our velocity V1. This is the rate of external work. Now, we need rate of where is the internal work being done over here? The internal work is getting done in this region. You see, remember we said this is the internal shearing. So, this is where actual work is inside the material is taking place. If this work was not taking place, then actually no force or no energy would be consumed. Whatever energy is getting consumed is because internally this is the region where deformation is taking place. This is over here, like it is like this, over here it is like this. So, now this again we have to calculate the rate of internal work, and we can again separate it into terms like force into velocity, which can be dissociated into shear strength times the area onto which it is working. So, you see this is the shear strength of the material K, OO prime is one dimension, L is another dimension. So, this is shear stress times area. So, this is force into velocity. So, the units are same. So, we are again talking in terms of force into velocity. So, it is indeed rate of work. So, we are calculating force times velocity, or we are calculating rate of internal work. Now, from what we have already discussed, if we want to calculate the pressure, we have what we need to do, pressure or the force, what we need to do is equate rate of external work to rate of internal work. So, let us put these two parts in one place. So, what do we see here? First thing we notice is that L gets cancelled, and this will be true no matter what deformation field you assume, but you still make one assumption, which is that in the third direction or in the perpendicular direction the geometry remains constant, that is in the third direction there is no change in the geometry. So, as long as you take that, this L will always get cancelled, and because this will be true in general, we will not be showing this term in the future examples. In the next few examples that we will consider, we will not take this L term, we will only take P A V1 over here, and over here all the dimensions that we see on the plane of the board. The third direction we know will exist, but it will get automatically cancelled out when we equate rate of internal work to rate of external work. So, now we have over here like this, and this to ensure that we are talking about magnitude, we can put the modulus like this, and we can say PE is equal to K times so this equating of internal work to external work, we are the rate of internal work to rate of external work, we are able to get a relation for PE, the pressure extrusion, and it comes out like this. So, it is in terms of the shear strength of the material. So, overall form of the equation will remain same no matter what material you take, it will the only thing you will have to change when you change material is the shear strength of the material, and this term, where does this term, where will you obtain the value for this term? You can obtain this from the geometry. The geometry of the problem would allow you to get value for these terms. Where would you get the value for this? V star by V1, we will get it through Hodograph. So, let us come back to this one. Over here you can see you can get a relation between O prime and over here this is your A. So, the relation between O prime and A, this you will obtain from the geometry of the problem. Over here also O prime and A, you can get the relation, what should be the ratio between O prime and A, you can get that. On the other hand, what will be the ratio between Vs star and V1, that you will get from this velocity diagram. So, here all these angles would obviously be known to you once you know this, once you have drawn it using this geometry. So, from this geometry you get this, and from here you know all the angles, and if you know the angles you will be able to get relation between Vs star and V1. Similarly, over here you will be able to get relation between Vs star and V1, and therefore, you will again be able to calculate the ratio of Vs star and V1. So, you see that we are indeed able to calculate PE once we know the geometry and we have drawn the Hodograph related to it. So, this is one example, and to make it a little bit more complicated, we will get to that example, but before that let me tell you that if you had over here, we are assuming that deformation or the internal shearing is taking place at only one plane. You remember this is only one plane. Now, let us say that more than one plane was involved in internal shearing, then what will change over here? What will change over here is that you will have to calculate O prime times this velocity on that particular plane for each and every plane like that, or in other words, this will become, and I will, since we have kept L over here, I will keep using L for now. So, we will take L as a common factor outside, and inside you will have AB, which is the length, and VAB, meaning the velocity on that particular plane. So, you will take summation of all such planes, the length of this plane, the length meaning the trace that you are seeing on the geometry, and shearing velocity on that plane. So, these will be your terms. This is again your shear strength, this is the term that will ignore from now on, but for now we are taking it as a common factor, and there will be this summation across all planes. So, this is the simple way to solve this particular kind of problem or to get the upper bound analysis. Now, we will get to a little bit more complicated problem. So, let me take another example which is of extrusion. While solving this problem, I will also take you through some important guidelines that you must follow to be able to solve this, first to get the hodograph and then eventually to solve the pressure values or the force values. So, let us say this is our die, and let us say this is the material that is being inserted into this die. So, this process is extrusion. So, again I will show pressure as PE. Now, the first thing whenever you are trying to solve a problem like this is to find symmetry and break the problem accordingly. In this context, what it means is this is symmetric around which plane? It is symmetric around this plane. So, what we will do is we will only consider one half. Now, whatever happens in the one half will also be occurring in the other half. So, all our solution would be valid even if we calculate only for one half. Now, we cannot reduce this problem to any more simple geometry. We cannot have reduce it to any, we do not see any more symmetry over here. So, we will continue with this. Now, let us say that it is given that H naught over here is 1 and this He is equal to 1 by 2. Now, next step is to assume some deformation field. Which is self consistent. So, what we can see here is that what is happening to the material. We can see the material is moving like this, it is then moving like this and then it is moving like this. Now, this is the flow of the material and there must be a break in the velocity over here, which means whenever there is a break there must be some shearing going on. So, there is some shearing going on along this somewhere around this region. Similarly, there must be some shearing going on around this region. Now, we can assume that there is a deformation field like this. Now, this is totally user defined deformation field. You see the material is moving like this, so far that is good, but how do we draw this discontinuity lines or the planes where internal shearing is taking place is dependent upon the user, and me as a user have defined that this is how the deformation is taking place or this is where the internal shearing is taking place. There are even more complicated ways to have this kind of shearing field. Like I said, it is user defined. So, you as a user can come up with something more complicated, and now given that we have computational abilities, we will be able to solve any of these. But what is the use of it? We will also come to that. But for now, let us say that this is the user defined deformation field and this is one of the discontinuity line or where the shearing is taking place. This is another discontinuity line where the shearing is taking place. Third aspect is to define or label the moving regions and velocities. So, I have already labeled the moving regions, these are the moving regions, and now I will also label points over here. So, this is let us say point A, and I will call this as point B, and I will call this as point C. Now, there are some geometries dependent upon the deformation field that I have defined, and there are some geometries dependent upon the die that has been given to me. So, I will assume that the die geometry is already given to me. For example, this is given to me as theta equal to 30 degrees. I have already defined that this is h naught and this is h exit, which is half of h naught. So, these are the geometries which are already provided to me, and I have these angles. Other than that, we also have these angles. So, let us say this is theta. Okay, I will not call this as theta, I will just put this as 30 degrees, and I will call this as psi. So, now you see, even for this simple deformation field that I have defined here, I could have defined it in million different ways. I could have taken this point over here, here, anywhere along this, and the angle theta and psi would change. Although the velocity or the movement of the particles or the movement of the material inside remains the same as we have defined earlier, but what is the discontinuity or what is the shearing velocity, that part is continuously changing as we select different points at which these two shearing angles converge. So, for now let us say these are some particular angles theta and psi, some given theta and psi values, and the material is flowing like this, and there is a discontinuity like this. Now, the next step, once we have labeled the moving regions and the velocities, so one thing I have not yet done, which is labeling the velocity. So, this is V naught, the velocity at which it is going in, and this is velocity exit VE, this is V1. So, the material inside is flowing here as V1, and since there is a shearing going on, so there must be some velocity over here also, we will call that VAB, and since it is internal shearing, I will denote it as star. Again there is a shearing over here along this plane, and I will denote it by V star BC. So, these are the velocities that are over there. So, now I have labeled the moving regions and the velocities. Next step for me is to create the hodograph. Again, for creating the hodograph, you remember what do we have to do? We have to take a origin. So, this is our origin. Now, from the origin, the first velocity that we know of is V naught. So, there is some velocity V naught. Right now, we do not know we know the magnitude only of the V naught. So, let us say this magnitude is known to you, but we do not know the magnitude of, for example, VE, but we know that it must be larger than V naught. So, this is V naught, this is VE, and so we will come back to this particular part of this lecture, or we will keep solving it in the next lecture. So, we will come back on this in the next class. Thanks.